Okay, welcome back. So previously I showed you an introduction to My Places. Now we're going to dig into My Places in a bit more detail. So if we look over here on the sidebar, as I mentioned before, we have a section here called Places, and within that is My Places. And again, it's just a place to store route information, location information, track information related to your particular account. So let's expand it, and you've already seen some of this, a tour of Idaho, Washington, and Hong Kong. We looked at the Statue of Liberty, and we went through the 7 wonders of the world. So those are all familiar. What I have added to show more about this is another thing called My Places down here. Now what is that? I have a My Places up here. What is this second one down here? Well, let me open it up and show you. Okay, so if I zoom out here from our beautiful Coeur d'Alene Resort and back out a ways and highlight My Places, you can see a whole host of rides that I have taken or plan to take. So routes that I plan to take and tracks that I actually have taken highlighted here. A whole bunch of them in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. In fact, here's the route down the Pacific Coast Highway my wife, kids, and I took last summer, all the way down to San Diego. Quite the trip. Anyway, a couple things you notice. First of all, it's in a different color. You'll see that when you first put a route in place or a track, it's going to be in blue, which is pretty difficult to see, but the yellow makes it stand out a lot better. How to change the color, I'll be able to go through that and show you how to do that in my advanced training, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so how to organize My Places is pretty important. First of all, as you can see, if you check the box, it either shows it or doesn't show it, and then if you expand or select different sections of it, there goes the whole Idaho section. Maybe I want to show or hide the Montana section or the Washington. So that's the hiding and showing of it. Now, organizing your places in folders is pretty important. Organization by itself makes it a little bit easier to manage it, but it becomes a lot more important when you actually want to record a video later on. If it's not organized correctly, that video may not turn out as you want it to. So let's show you how to organize through folders. So no matter where you're at, you can right click and add a folder. And we'll title the folder Test Folder. And you can see there it is. It's been added. Now it's in the hierarchy that it's within the My Places folder. So if we hide some of this stuff, you can see that it's at the same level as everything else within the My Places folder. And that's where we click. Now let's say we wanted to create a folder within Example Tour. Let's do that. Add folder. We'll just call it Example Folder. And you can see, again, it's within the higher level folder that we selected. So that, excuse me, that's adding folders. And now if we want to, let's say we want to delete it, just right click, delete. It will ask us if we're sure. We say yes, and boom, it's gone. Okay, so we covered adding folders, deleting them. Again, you can show or hide just by clicking the check box. Okay, next, you'll notice on the screen that the routes in Idaho here are red. And again, I will show you how to do that in my advanced training. But not only can you change the color, but you can change the width of the lines for the routes or tracks. You can change the text color and sizes. You can change the icons. You can show or hide the icons and the text. Lots of different functionality that you can do, and you can affect an entire folder or only a single route, and I'll show you how to do all that. But let's say now that we, just for some dumb reason, I would not recommend doing this if you didn't have your data backed up, which by the way, I'll show you in a minute how to back up your places. But let's say we wanted to delete everything in this Idaho folder. If we just right click and delete, we can delete everything. Or you can just delete the contents. So let's say we wanted to do that for Washington, delete contents. That will leave the folder for Washington, but everything within it is still there. So Idaho is gone, but Washington is, the folder still there, but the contents within Washington are gone. So that's a little bit more about how to manipulate information within My Places. Google Earth does have a tendency to crash from time to time, and so you always want to make sure that your places are saved. So as often as you can remember to do it, I would recommend coming over and hitting Save My Places. Again, it does save that information for your places on your hard drive on your local machine. And again, as if you're logged in, it will also save it to the cloud so that you can access it from another computer. Okay, in the last video we talked about saving My Places, but it's also important to back up your My Places, and the reason for that is Google Earth can and does crash from time to time, and when it does crash, it can corrupt the My Places file. So I would recommend, if you know you have a good version of My Places, back it up from time to time, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Go ahead on over to the web, and in the description for the video down below, I've included a link to this web page where Google talks about where to find the My Places file. So head on over to where your application files are stored. In this case on a Mac, the way to do that is to go to your Finder and click on the Go menu, and then hold down the Option button or Alt button, and you'll see that it shows a hidden folder here called Library. So once it's showing and you're holding it down, click on it, that'll open Library. Then within that, go to Application Support and Google Earth, and in there you will find the My Places file. Just make a copy of it and save it to wherever you want to save it, your hard drive. I would recommend saving it on a USB drive or even like a cloud drive like Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, and make sure that you have a backup of it. Now, if you know that your My Places file is corrupted at the moment, you know, because you're seeing some poor behavior within Google Earth, then don't grab that. Go to one of your most recent backups and grab it, which you can see here in the date modified column. You can find the most recent backup file and save it instead. Okay, that's how you save or back up your My Places file if it's corrupted, or even in advance of it being corrupted. In the next video, we're going to talk about routes, so stay tuned for that.